From our studio in Georgetown, this is the TV Delmarva Channel 14 News at 4.
Good day, Delmarva. Reporter Rob Petrie here for TV Delmarva Channel 14 News. Straight ahead, Georgetown Town Council has approved plans to build a tiny home community to help the area's homeless. 2 boys have been hospitalized after police say they were shot Tuesday night in Dover. And Joe Biden's job approval rating here in Delaware has dropped. More details coming up, but weather first with Hunter Alton.
Hello and good Wednesday, Delmarva. Well, we thought we'd be able to escape a little bit of precipitation today, but unfortunately a little bit of batch of rain is now moving across the central portions of Delmarva and also here in our studio here in Georgetown. Taking a live look outside of TV Delmarva Studios here in Georgetown, we have a little bit of rain on the lens and some fairly chilly temperatures too for this time of year. Currently only 58 degrees here in Georgetown. Take a look at satellite and radar. You can still see that coastal low still churning well off the coast of the Carolinas. It actually has a little bit of convection near the center, trying to get a little bit of some subtropical characteristics since it is hanging out over the Gulf Stream. But we're seeing an influx in clouds moving in from the northeast and those areas of showers, but they should be relatively short-lived as we're going to be looking at just mostly just plain clouds tonight, maybe an isolated sprinkle here and there, but the bulk of the precipitation from this storm moving westward will occur closer towards this weekend. Now we do got several weather hazards that remain in effect going into this afternoon. All these areas that you see this lime green color, those are coastal flood advisories that are still in effect for the areas of some minor coastal flooding left over from the very strong waves. And right along the Maryland Eastern Shore coastline is a high surf advisory with the 4 to 8 foot swells that are out there. And one single lone coastal flood warning for areas of St. Mary's County. Take a look at temperatures across the region, and once again a big spread, all thanks to that onshore flow. Much cooler the closer you get towards the Atlantic coast. Salisbury 60 degrees, Pocomoke City is 60 degrees as well, only 51 right now in Ocean City. Heading over towards Easton, it's 67, 72 for Centerville, 66 in Dover, and 71 degrees up north in Wilmington and Newark at this hour. We've still been looking at persistent northeast winds, sustained a little bit less than what they were yesterday, sustained anywhere between about 10 and 15 miles per hour, but we have been seeing some wind gusts get near 30, like currently gusting right now to 31 miles per hour in Georgetown, 27 for Salisbury, 24 in Pocomoke City, 30 miles per hour right along the ocean front in Ocean City, 20 miles per hour for Easton and Centerville. Now the good news is we're finally going to start seeing those winds calm down during the late afternoon hours on Thursday, but unfortunately we are going to be looking at some rain chances going into this weekend, but warmer weather is definitely on the way, and that coastal low will finally get out of here once we start next week. I'll have all the details regarding that coastal low here in just a little bit.
Georgetown Town Council has approved plans to build a tiny home community to help the area's homeless. The proposal passed unanimously as all council members voted in favor of the $500,000 grant that will allow Springboard Collaborative to purchase personal sleeping cabins to create a tiny home community for the homeless population in Georgetown.
It is something that I hear, oh, we've got to do something about the homeless. But what are we going to do? Well, no, everybody wants to kick the can down the road. Well, I believe that this is our one chance to actually do something. We are not a town that we don't have a lot of money, but somehow or other, we do have this federal money that was given to us. It's $500,000 for 4 pallet shelters, for 40 pallet shelters. We really need this. So right now, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the $500,000. Second.
Motion and a second by Sue and Christina. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Just one clarifying item, Judd, do you have a problem being a subrecipient that we have a requirement that the pallets be used within the corporate limits of the town of Georgetown?
No problem at all.
Thank you.
So that means they'll stay here in Georgetown the rest of their life.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you. So I was getting ready to say all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Council chambers were flooded with residents who spoke out at Monday night's council meeting in favor of the proposal.
We can make it happen. And I think the people here that's sitting on this council tonight, you got to find in your hearts. And that's all I ask you to do tonight.
I was homeless my lifetime. I've been homeless. Came out of a good family, but by bad choices, I end up being homeless. But I just want to say tonight, I want to let these guys know and hear them that I support them. And I encourage them because they need a new start.
Georgetown needs to be the first to do it, and that we should carry it on because we will set up an example. As Tony has said, 22 years. This is something that we've needed for 22 years. But here's a time when everyone is coming together to make sure that we take care of the people of our city.
Now, what I wanted to say to you is that I'm not disposable. See, I was able to find a hope in hopelessness, right? So now I stayed, with Lou and April on higher ground. I was able to move from the ground to a cot, now from a cot to a job. Now I'm working to save money to move out, not just for a hotel, but for a place to live. And the pallet house, I'd like to get on the list for that, but if I can afford it on my own before then, that's what I would do. And I just want to tell you that, me being homeless and all the other homeless people that are out there in the woods, some with disabilities and drug addictions, well, we're still not disposable.
Now, officials hope to have the community ready before the start of the winter season. Well, police are investigating after a 12-year-old and 17-year-old were shot Tuesday night in Dover. According to the Dover Police Department, shortly before 9 p.m. Tuesday, officers were called to the 400 block of Barrister Place for reports of shots fired. When officers arrived, several shell casings were located in the back of the house. While on scene, police learned that a 12-year-old male and a 17-year-old male had both been shot. The 17-year-old was flown to Christiana Hospital with a gunshot wound to his lower torso, and the 12-year-old was shot in the hand and remained in Dover for treatment. Both are expected to be okay and survive their injuries. Police say both victims provided multiple but differing accounts of the incident. Anyone with any information is urged to contact police. Meanwhile, a Rehoboth teen was arrested on drug and weapons charges in Milton. According to Delaware State Police, around 11:30 a.m. Monday, troopers on patrol in the Milton area spotted a black Cadillac sedan traveling northbound on Coastal Highway just south of Broadkill Road, speeding. The trooper conducted a traffic stop on the vehicle and made contact with the driver, 18-year-old Kyrie Coxon of Rehoboth Beach. As police made contact with Coxon, troopers reportedly smelled a strong odor of marijuana coming from inside the vehicle. Coxon was taken into custody, and a search of that Cadillac led to the discovery of approximately 64.47 grams of marijuana, an FHN 9mm handgun, and over $1,100 in suspected drug proceeds. Coxon was arraigned on a slew of charges and released on $8,500 unsecured bond. Coming up, Denrec will host its annual Water Family Fest this weekend in Ocean View. More details on the way. Keep it here. Denrec and the Center for the Inland Bays are once again partnering to host Water Family Fest and the annual Native Plant Sale. The family-friendly event will be held at James Farm Ecological Preserve in Ocean View from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. this coming Saturday. The free event highlights the work by both agencies to improve Delaware's environment and preserve the area's natural resources. Water Family Fest visitors will enjoy exhibits from more than 20 nature-based, and nonprofit organizations. Attendees will have the opportunity to learn about a variety of environmental topics, including native plants, shellfish, buffers, beaches, wetlands, tax ditches, rain gardens, and more. Well, it's looking like we're in store for cloudy skies and breezy conditions tonight as we get a preview of your pinpoint weather forecast with Hunter Alton.
An isolated sprinkle or shower may be possible for the rest of this evening as even more clouds begin to settle in. More gray and breezy conditions will be back on Thursday, with rain developing during the overnight hours. Rain is in the forecast for this weekend for the last hoorah for this coastal storm before much warmer and drier weather begins to move in. Now don't go anywhere because when we come back, we'll have a look at the added rainfall threat here on TV Delmarva, Channel 14 News. Alrighty, Delmarva, let's get right into the pinpoint forecast because unfortunately we're still dealing with the influences of that coastal storm pretty much this entire week. But I do have some good news at least. Take a look at weather headlines for the next couple of days. Unfortunately, the rain will return this weekend from that same storm system, but the good news is it is finally going to be on the move, but not in the way that unfortunately you would like it. But some really good news is coastal flooding concerns will end starting tomorrow as we're starting to see a shift in those winds from the northeast towards the southeast, and when that does, that's actually going to be allowing some warmer air to start filtering in towards this weekend, starting to get back into above average temperatures in the 70s and maybe even 80s for the start of next week. But the greatest news of all, that nor'easter will finally kick the bucket this weekend as it will finally begin to weaken as it moves westward. Overnight hours tonight, we're going to be looking at mostly cloudy skies, and those temperatures are not really going to change all that much from the daytime hours. We're going to drop a few degrees with overnight lows at 52 to 56 degrees, but we're still going to be keeping that pesky northeast breeze between 10 and 15 miles per hour. Take a look at Futurecast, rest of the overnight hours into the day on Thursday. This is 8 o'clock this evening. We got plenty of clouds here on Delmarva with temperatures in the 50s to maybe 60 degrees, but don't be surprised if you might see a stray isolated sprinkle or shower during the evening hours with a constant onshore flow. But going into the heart of the overnight hours, we still got plenty of cloud cover, and that's going to be keeping temperatures kind of at bay into the low and mid 50s. Waking up tomorrow morning, though, we're starting to see an increase in the clouds further west, where they've actually been escaping the clouds over the last couple of days. Temperatures, once again, not really changing all that much in the mid 50s, but going into the afternoon hours, we might see some pockets of some sprinkles popping up. Temperatures warming up just a little bit, upper 50s to lower 60s, but by the time we get into the evening hours, we still got plenty of cloud cover, keeping things a little bit mild too, near 60 degrees for areas of central Delmarva. But going into the overnight hours, we are going to be increasing those rain chances with the influences of that coastal storm moving back west. And that's going to be keeping temperatures nice and warm and comfortable during the overnight hours in the upper 50s to about 60 degrees. Thursday forecast overall, we got cloudy skies, a little bit warmer, temperatures of 58 to 64 degrees. We're still going to be looking at breezy conditions from the northeast, 10 to 15 miles per hour during the daytime hours. Take a look at the allergy index for Thursday, even though it's like hard to believe, but we're still dealing with those nasty allergies. High levels 8.5 out of 12 on this scale. We're still in the peak of tree pollen season, unfortunately, but we're very, very soon getting ready to go on the downslope, and those conditions will be improving over the next few weeks. Then we're going to switch gears to take a look at the marine conditions for your Thursday. Beginning with the Atlantic, we got cloudy skies, 57 degrees, still got some strong northeast winds, 20 to 30 miles per hour with seas of 4 to 8 feet. A little bit of a decrease over the last couple of days. Delaware Bay, cloudy skies as well, 60 degrees, winds from the northeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour with seas of 1 to 2 feet. And then the Chesapeake Bay, cloudy skies, 65 degrees, winds from the northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour, and you can expect 1 to 2 foot seas on the Chesapeake. Now, going into the overnight hours tomorrow night, we're still going to be looking at plenty of clouds, but we're going to be introducing some rain showers too. And we're going to be looking at rain showers, unfortunately, throughout much of this weekend, but the temperatures will be holding steady. anywhere between 55 to 58 degrees, and we still got winds from the northeast between 5 and 15 miles per hour. I want to show you the forecast storm surge tides going into tomorrow. If you remember the last couple of days, we've been seeing a lot of yellows and oranges in areas of the Delaware Bay, but going into tomorrow, finally got some normal levels, even though our seas are going to be about 4 to 8 feet. But after that high tide during the morning hours tomorrow, we're going to be looking at much better conditions for our coastal location because we don't need any more coastal erosion. Seen plenty of videos and photos of like 10 to 12 foot drop-offs right here on our beach, but those dunes did its job. But we still got a little bit higher seas for areas of southern tip of Delmarva. But after tomorrow, coastal concerns will be finally done and improving conditions on the way. Now, where is this coastal low going to be going over the next couple of days? This is the NAM model for later on this evening. It's still sitting in the same place that it has been over the last 3 days, but going into tomorrow, it begins to move towards the west, and our winds will be switching directions too by the time we get into Friday. And what that does is going to interact with the jet stream there, and we start having areas of precipitation break out over the southeastern United States. But by the time it gets into this weekend, though, our winds are going to be switching towards the south. We're going to be looking at some scattered rain chances, but the good news is that finally takes it and gets it out of here, and we're done with it going into next week. Extended outlook, well, we got rain chances for tomorrow night, Friday, Saturday, and maybe a little bit on Sunday as well. But the good news is, take a look at these temperatures though, getting into the mid and upper 70s and some fairly mild nights too, getting to about 60 degrees. Going into the early portions of next week though, we finally have drier conditions, nice comfortable warm temperatures, maybe looking at the lower 80s by the start of Monday, and that will be continuing throughout next week with partly sunny skies.
Coming up, President Joe Biden's job approval rating here in Delaware has dropped. More details straight ahead. Keep it here. President Biden's job approval rating has plunged here in the first state. Only 29% of Democrats here in Delaware say they approve of the president's job performance, according to Breitbart, and the president's favorability isn't doing any better, with 55% of Delawareans disapproving of Biden's performance. The poll was conducted by Civics and found that 51% of the country disapproves of President Biden's performance over the course of his first term.
Weather Classroom is sponsored by No Nonsense Office Machines, committed to providing quality products and services with over 15 years of experience here in Sussex County. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today's weather lesson we will be talking about numerical weather models. The history of using mathematical models to forecast weather and water can be traced all the way back to the early 20th century, but only became useful with the invention of computers. Once computers were available, however, numerical weather prediction quickly evolved. As computing power grew, forecasts were able to be computed more regularly, but their skill level falls very below the manual techniques of what they were at that time. Then into the 1970s, increased computing power combined with the influx of new observations, including satellite data, kickstarted the field of weather modeling as they began to compute more data with more speed and skill at the same time. In modern times, continuing advancements have allowed for more complex models to be run at a finer scale over the globe, further increasing their predictive skill. Scientists have also developed what we call ensemble modeling. In this method, the same model is run multiple times with the initial conditions slightly altered. This procedure outlines a multitude of potential outcomes where the differences in the individual model forecast can help assess the uncertainties in the forecast. All weather models work on the same basic principle, solving a large number of complex equations for various locations at both the surface and different heights of the atmosphere. These equations solve for many parameters such as temperature, dew point, wind speed, in addition to many others as well. Once all these calculations have been completed for a given time step, the solutions can be put together to form a picture or a map of what the future state of the atmosphere looks like based on the model's calculations. This new set of variables is then inputted back into the model and then repeated many times over, giving us a range of forecasts valid from a few hours to many months into the future.
Well, that about does it for us today, Delmarva. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at TV Delmarva and on our website, tvdelmarva.com, for real-time news and weather updates. And while you're there, be sure to sign our petition calling on the major cable providers to carry TV Delmarva on their platforms so we can provide this kind of local programming to all of Delmarva. Until next time, I'm Rob Petrie reporting for TV Delmarva, Channel 14 News.